Hello my friends and welcome to today's video. I'm Jeanette. If you're new to my channel, welcome. On this channel we learn alcohol, ink, and watercolor together. I hope that you enjoyed the video and consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. In today's tutorial we're going to be working with alcohol ink using a dry palette and acrylic ink to create a spooky tree, and well, let's see how it goes. Okay, so here we go. I haven't done this in a long time, so wish me luck. I'm working with Amazon Basics photo paper. I'm working on the matte side, not the glossy side. I have some inexpensive brushes, some alcohol, my acrylic ink. This is by Dr. P.H. Martin. All the products will be listed in the description box if you want to check it out. So here you can see that's the glossy side. I want to work on the matte side because if you work on the glossy side, the ink does not flow, it gets absorbed. If you work on the matte side, the ink will flow very freely. Okay, so I have my dry palette and I'm going to start by creating my sky, and because the tree is going to be black, I don't want to use blue or dark shades of blue to make a very moody sky. So I'm going to be using red, blue, orange, and yellow to create my sky. So you can see I've added some red to the sky and I'm using a fan brush. I like the way the fan brush creates these lines in the sky. So I'm dipping my brush and picking up a lot of alcohol. Normally with a dry palette, I tell you not to use a lot of alcohol, but if you're creating a sky like this, you want to make sure that you do have a good load of alcohol on the brush because it helps the colors to blend better. So now I'm bringing it down almost to the bottom of the paper, but I see that I have too much yellow and I want the sky to be a little moodier than that. So I'm working my way back up. I've added more orange and you can see I brought that orange down. And now I'm picking up the red again and I'm blending it together and bringing it up to the top. And now I'm adding the blue and it's giving me a nice shade of purple. And you can see I blotted the brush and it's giving me demarcation lines. So using a lot of alcohol to create the background is key in this. And again, I'm just trying to blend this all together. Okay, I'm pretty happy with the way that looks. So I'm going to use my blow dryer to make sure it's completely dry before I start with my hill. So for the hill, I used teak wood, espresso, different shades of brown. I also used slate and black because I wanted it to be really dark. So I'm just getting the color on the paper at this point. I'm trying to get it as dark as I can. But of course, I'm not happy with the way that looks. I wanted to add a little bit of texture. So first, I have some alcohol in this little needle nose bottle. And I'm going to hold my paper at an angle and I'm going to drop some of that alcohol on here to make it run towards the edge of the paper. And I'm hoping to get some nice texture in the hill. And then I just ran a line of the alcohol across the top of the hill and I'm letting it run down. And I'm going to move it around and see what happens. Now I decided that while the paper was still wet with the alcohol, I was going to add some more color with the fan brush. I wanted to get more texture. And I wanted it to be a little bit darker. So I'm picking up all different shades of browns and a black, gray, and I'm just adding it to that hill. Then I used the blow dryer to make sure it was completely dry, because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mini mister. I'm going to cover up the sky part of the painting. You'll see that in just a moment. There we go. I have a scrap piece of paper, and I'm taking my mini mister that's filled with alcohol, and I'm spraying it on that hill to get even more texture. And I did like the way that looked. So now I'm going to start creating the trunk of the tree. So I'm using Mantilla black. You can use pitch black if that's what you have. And I'm holding the brush very loosely, closest to the top, and I'm turning it as I hold it. And I'm making these wiggly lines to create the trunk of the tree and the branches as well. And then I'm just going to thicken up some of the branches and add a few more wherever I think I need them. And most of this will be covered up later on when we start adding the spindly branches with the acrylic ink. Now, I've been asked before if I don't have acrylic ink, can I use alcohol ink? And I don't think that it works the same way. Honestly, I haven't tried it. I just don't think that it works the same way. But if you don't have the acrylic ink and you want to give it a try, please let me know if it works for you. Okay, so now let's get this dry palette out of the way. And for those of you who don't know what a dry palette is, I will link a video in the description box that explains what a dry palette is, why you would use one, and how to create one. So in this little shot glass, I'm spraying some water because I thought, like I said, I haven't done this in a long time, so I thought I needed water, but I didn't. And you'll see I kind of messed it up a little bit, but then I covered it up as best I could, and all in all, I was very happy with the way it looks. So I also have a little dropper that I thought I would use to add the water to the ink. You can see I have a little ceramic palette there. I added the acrylic ink. I also have a dotting tool that I'm going to use to add the ink to the paper. And then I thought add a little drop of water, and look what happened. It did not work the way I wanted it to. So now I'm just adding the ink straight to wherever I want, and then I'm using the airbrush and I'm wiggling the airbrush, as you can see, to create kind of spindly, spidery looking branches. So I'm just putting a little dot of the ink on the paper and then using the airbrush to move it around. And it gives you these really spidery looking branches. So I'm just going to continue adding these little branches and blowing them out. I don't know if I mentioned that the PSI on my compressor is set at 40. And I don't know if this is something, if you don't have an airbrush and you just have like the Ranger hand blower, you might be able to do this. I don't recall if I've tried it or not. But I think my hand would get tired if I tried to do this with the Ranger hand blower. So I'm going to speed this part up a little bit, and then we'll get to the part where I decided to add a moon. Okay, so I've sped this up and I'm just trying to add a few more branches and cover up that mistake that I made. So you can see I'm trying to add more branches in that area. Then I'm taking the smaller end of the dotting tool to thicken up some branches and add some wherever I think I may need them. And then you can see over on the right hand side in the red area, I have what looks kind of like a circle. So I decided that I was going to add a moon. So I'm using a blending marker. This is a marker that just contains alcohol, and you can use it for lifting the ink off of your paper. And this particular one has a chiseled end and a brushed end. And when you use it, you can lift the ink off the paper, but make sure you blot the tip on the paper towel to remove the ink from the tip so that you're just lifting the ink and not moving it around. So then I switched over to the chiseled end, and that moon is really close to the edge, which was not what I intended, but I didn't like that mark there, so I thought I'd add a moon to cover it up. So I just kept going over it and lifting that ink off, blotting it off on my paper towel, and going over it until I got something that looked kind of round. And the more that I fiddled with it, the bigger it got, which was not what I wanted. But, well, here we are. And that sometimes happens. It's okay. I didn't think that I ruined the painting by creating such a big moon. It was okay. So now I'm just trying to go around and make it more round. And like I said, the more that I played with it, the worse that it got. But it's okay. I fixed it in the end. It turned out okay. And you'll see what I did. So now I wanted to create some stars in the sky, but the tip of that blending pen is too thick. So I just used a white gel pen to add some little stars here and there. And I realize that my sky looks more like a sunset than anything, but that's okay. It's my painting. I can do anything I want. And I liked it. So I just continued adding some white gel pen dots here and there to create some stars in the sky. So now that I added the moon, I wanted to create a couple of branches going over the moon, kind of to mask it a little bit. And I just added a few dots of the acrylic ink and blew it out. And I kind of like the way that looked a little bit better. So I'll remind you while you watch me do this that all the products will be linked in the description box if you want to know what products I'm using, or perhaps you'd like to purchase them for yourself. You'll find them in the description box. Also, I hope that you consider joining our Facebook group, Vival Vintage Design Tutorials, where you can post your versions of the paintings and techniques learned on this channel. I would really love it if you share your version of these paintings with me. I'm very active in the group, and we have such a wonderful group of members. So I hope that you consider joining. Okay, so now I thought I was finished, and I think I covered up that area where I made that mistake of adding water pretty well. And it does look like a spooky little tree, but of course I didn't like the moon there. So what I did was I took a Posca pen with a really thick nib and I created a border. And this is something that I do a lot when I want to cover up some mistakes. And speaking of mistakes, you can see I went offline here. So all I did was use a blending pen to lift that Posca marker out of there, and you can't even tell that I made a mistake at all. And then I just continued to add a border. And in the end, I was really happy with the way this turned out. I hope that you have enjoyed this video and that you give it a try. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section. I read every comment and answer every question. Thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.